Phones? Everybody phones?
See?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We're ready to begin tonight's City of Gardena regular city council meeting for April 9th, 2019. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Madam Mayor, all council members are present.
Okay, thank you. Mr. City Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session tonight?
No reportable action was taken.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to begin next with our Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, it will be led by Seeker Mitchell and Anaya Wilson. Immediately following that, if you can continue standing for our invocation, which will be led tonight by Ms. Joyce Watanabe. So at this time, please stand. And if our pledges can come forward.
Face the flag.
Put your right hand over your heart.
You may begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and for liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Actually, continue standing. And Ms. Watanabe, if you can come forward. Thank you.
O thou kind Lord, we are servants of thy threshold, taking shelter at thy holy door. We seek no refuge, save only this strong pillar. Turn nowhere for a haven, but unto thy safe keeping. Protect us, bless us, support us. Make us such that we shall love but thy good pleasure. Utter only thy praise, follow only the pathway of truth, that we may become rich enough to dispense with all save thee, and receive our gifts from the sea of thy beneficence, that we may ever strive to exalt thy cause and to spread thy sweet savors far and wide, that we may become oblivious of self and occupied only with thee, and disown all else, and be caught up in thee. O thou provider, O thou forgiver, grant us thy grace and loving kindness, thy gifts and thy bestowals, and sustain us that we may attain our goal. Thou art the powerful, the able, the knower, the seer, and verily thou art the generous, and verily thou art the all-merciful, and verily thou art the ever-forgiving, he to whom repentance is due, he who forgiveth even the most grievous of sins.
You may be seated. If I can have our two pledgers come back to the front, Seeker and Anaya. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance was led by Seeker Mitchell, who's in the 5th grade at Perchie Elementary School, my old elementary, and Anaya Wilson, who's also in the 5th grade. And she attends Perchie STEM Magnet program. Their principal is Dr. David Bell, and the students were chosen for tonight's meeting because Seeker is an articulate individual, and he's very considerate and looks out for his peers. His teacher, Ms. Horton, says that he puts all his effort into his task that he undertakes. Anaya is a natural leader. She's articulate as well. Her teacher, Mr. Anderson, says that she's a caring and good-hearted person that listens and is academically at the top of her class. So we're going to start with Seeker first. Can you tell us who brought you here tonight?
My dad, Pierre Lenoir.
Where's he at? Right there. Let's give him a round of applause for bringing him out. And Seeker, is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you for having me, and have a great day.
Thank you. Anaya, can you tell us who brought you tonight?
My dad, Godfrey Wilson.
Where is he at? All right, give him a round of applause. And Anaya, is there anything that you would like to say as well?
Like, what made you decide to be into politics?
What made me decide to go into politics? I wanted I wanted to help people and just get some things done in the city, so that's why I decided to get into politics. Good question. Well, thank you guys both for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You guys did a great job, and I look forward to you guys coming back in the future and doing it again. So thank you. Everyone, give them a round of applause. Okay, you guys can take your seat now, and Ms. Watanabe, if you can come back to the front, please. So tonight's invocation was led by Ms. Joyce S. Watanabe from the Baha'i Faith. Ms. Watanabe's family came to Gardena in 1955. Joyce was on the Gardena High School drill team and marched in the Oil Loyalty Day parades. She graduated with the California Scholarship Federation Gold Seal and went to work at Los Angeles City Hall, where she became secretary to the president of the Board of Public Works. She has designated the Gardena Public Works Division as the beneficiary of her final pension check from the Los Angeles City Employees Retirement System. Joyce became a member of the Baha'i Faith in 1965. She worked at the Baha'i National Headquarters in Illinois and at the International Headquarters in Israel, where she was one of 600 Baha'is from 50 countries. The first Gulf War began at that time, and she carried her gas mask with her everywhere. Later, while living in Northern California, Ms. Watanabe was secretary to the San Francisco Port Director and to the Golden Gate Bridge Chief Engineer. She retired from college up Marin and returned to her teenage home in Gardena. Since then, she has invited other South Bay's Baha'i to walk in the Gardena, Martin Luther King Jr., and the Cinco de Mayo parades. Ms. Watanabe was the writer and publisher of the Gardena Valley Friends of the Library newsletter for a dozen years. In February of 2015, she was honored by the YWCA Gardena Valley with a Woman of Excellence Crimson Award for her dedicated efforts as a community volunteer. Ms. Watanabe, is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you, Mayor Serta and members of the Gardena City Council. My comments tonight are from the Baha'i Sacred Writings about those who govern with excellence. This choice was inspired by the mayor's State of the City address last month. Congratulations on that successful evening, which I had to miss because I was at an interfaith dinner where a Baha'i friend received an award. But in honor of the service of the city council members and all the staff of the city of Gardena, to all of us who live, work, play, and eat in Gardena, Mr. City Manager, I chose this excerpt about the state of the government. Baha'u'llah asked his son to write this, which the son did at age 31. He was writing about governing a nation, but it can apply to the city of Gardena, California. He talks about eminent and honorable ministers of state and representatives who place the will of God above their own and whose administrative skill and wisdom in the conduct of their office raises the science of government to new heights of perfection. They shine in the learned world like lamps of knowledge. Their thinking, their attitudes, and their acts demonstrate their patriotism and their concern for the country's advancement. Content with a modest stipend, they consecrate their days and nights to the execution of important duties and the devising of methods to ensure the progress of the people. Through the effectiveness of their wise counsel, the soundness of their judgment, they have ever caused their government to become an example to be followed by all the governments of the world. The last line, they have won distinction, attaining a supreme degree of personal eminence and reaching the loftiest heights of repute and character. Can I get an amen? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
So next, we're going to move on to presentations. Tonight, we don't have a military veteran to honor. We're going to move on to a presentation of the transit app that will be presented by our Director of Transportation, Director Ernie Crespo. Please come forward.
Good evening, mayors, city council members, city manager, Mr. Attorney. It's my pleasure today to present the transit app and our newest partnership with them. And we do have a little video that we had prepared for you. But first I wanted to just tell you a little bit. We've been working on this project, getting onto the transit app for about a year and a half. And we're finally live and it's up and running. So it took a big kind of undertaking to get to this point. A lot of it had to do with you guys approving the bus stop project a year ago, getting that all in order. Then us being able to identify all our bus stops so that when we send all this stuff to Google, it's all linked up correctly and it's now available on an app. So the transit app, though, it's a company out of Montreal, Canada. They started in 2012 with the whole concept of saying, when will my ride get here? So that was the foundation that said, hey, if I'm at a bus stop, when will my bus get here? We got to have better ways to do this. And so that's how the startup started. And now it's 8 years later. It's the transit leading app in North America. It's millions of active users. About over 200 cities worldwide use it. And then here in the local LA area, we have Beach Cities, Torrance, Metro, Long Beach Transit, and Torrance and Culver City, and then now Gardena. So with that, it's the transit app. We have a little video we put together in partnership that's debuted on our website and is also available now to stream and pass to all your friends. Hope we have some volume.
Bye, Mom.
How you doing?
I got you a little gift, Grandma.
Oh, Grandma likes gifts. Oh.
It's a smartphone. Look, you can check your bus schedule right there.
Wow, this is gonna be great.
Thank you. It was really a huge team effort to get all our actors and actresses on there. So we launched it Monday. Just want to share, we have cards in both Spanish and English that are available on the buses, informing riders, hey, start downloading this. It's free, and it's available on Apple and also on Android. If you could go to the first slide, if you don't mind. Oh, sorry. Okay. You said which one? Oh, okay. All right. So just as a quick snapshot, we didn't want to do a live demo. That's what we wanted to do, but this is a little bit for the sake of time. That's what it would look like. You literally download it, open up your app like you do any single app, and the little dot based on your location is exactly where you're at. So you don't have to be in Gardena. You can be in downtown. You can be in Orange County. You can be in Boston. You can be in New York. Wherever you are and you want to take a public transit, you use the app, right? This was one of the biggest things that riders want out there is they don't want to have multiple apps. They don't want a bus app for every company. So this has merged all the apps into one. And it's developed by somebody else. Like we don't have to, we just share our information with it. We don't have to maintain it, they do. That's what our lines would look like. The 1X is our line, the line 2, the line 5, the line 3, right? So it's almost like a walking bus book if you want to go mobile. So you can get information now or future, depending on what you like. And same thing now, let's say you decided you picked the route. It has a lot of features. It's going to give you our bus stop locations. That's why that bus stop project was very important to be the step to lay the foundation for this. And then it's going to give you bus time arrivals and departures, so you can plan stuff for tomorrow or today, right? So it's really intuitive to help you get wherever you want to go. Me and the city manager were testing it on his office. He was like, let me see how this works to get to his house. And it does. It's going to route you the best way. Not just with G-Trans. If G-Trans is not the most convenient on that day, it's going to send you to the other bus lines to get you there. So that's our partnership. We're excited about it. We just wanted to share that with you guys. I know it's been part of the mayor's vision to help us get out there and be more advanced in technology in our bus system as well. So this kind of helps move us in that direction. And it's a free partnership, so that's the nice part. There's no cost. It's just we're just sending our data to the transit app. So with that, I'll take any questions if there's any.
Are there any questions, any members of the council? Councilmember Cascana and then Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is, if I download this app and I decide to go to Long Beach, and does the app will tell me that if I take the bus from Artesia Western, number 2 bus, and they will tell me where to get off to catch the bus to go to Long Beach?
Yes, sir. It will exactly tell you that. It'll tell you what stop to get off and approximately how many feet you're going to have to walk or a mile or how distance from the Long Beach bus stop. So, it will give you step by step, including trains, the orange line, blue line, green line, silver line, all the metro trains. That's all linked in here. And one thing I'd like to add, just the next step for us is that once our AVL, our automatic vehicle locator program, is launched, we will have exact real-time information. So right now, it's like you open up a book. So it's just a schedule. It can't predict if our bus breaks down or something happens, right? So it gives you a static, what they call a schedule, but it's still up there. As we get our other phase of the project, that'll be the last phase, then we'll have real-time, and it means it will know exactly around the corner where our bus is, and it'll be real-time information.
And one more question. I always wanted to ask you this question, but I don't know if it's the time or not. When you ride the bus, you put your $1 bill. Do you get a receipt?
No receipt.
Oh, you don't get a receipt? Because I ride the bus so a couple times. How about if somebody comes in and he doesn't pay and he just goes and sit? I know it's different subject, but I always wanted to ask.
We'll take that question later. No.
Okay.
In reality, that is a real life scenario that happens every single day and every single transit in America. Somebody doesn't pay the fare. And what we teach our employees is to simply quote the fare. So you try to ask, sir, ma'am, the fare is $1. Ma'am, fare is $1. But, we don't encourage any altercations or anything that's going to raise a significant issue. If it's a repetitive person who does that, we will often seek assistance from police, from our supervisors to help out because it's now a repetitive concern that they're not paying the fare, and it's not fair to the other ones who do pay.
Right.
And we have our own transit police.
Yes. All right. I was always wondering because I do ride bus in Europe a lot when I travel there, and sometimes the police will come and stop the bus, and he goes onto the bus and asks for the tickets. And whoever doesn't have it, he will ask for the driver license and will issue a citation or the fees, you know, however it is. If they don't pay, it goes against their points. So that's why I was always wondering. And I know it's out of this little bit, we divert on the subject, but I always wanted to know. Thank you.
Councilmember Medina?
Yes, could you tell us how to sign up for this app and what we should look for as far as, is there a site?
So if you just go to the Apple Store or the I guess Android store, and then type in Transit, TRANSIT, app, APP, and that'll pick it up, and then and that's it.
Okay.
And then that's downloaded. It's free, and then it's up to you how you set it all up afterwards.
And I can testify that every single time I've taken the bus going to downtown and back, there's about 5 or 6 people that never pay. And the bus drivers are very courteous about it, and they ask them, do you have any money? And they say no, then they just sit down. But for the sake of receipts, when Mr. Cascaño was asking, just get a tap card, and you can put in you get a receipt for your tap card, and you just tap it in the back. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I have one. You mentioned about the real-time information, so I guess it'll kind of look like when you go on Uber where you can see where the cars are at, you actually be able to see where the buses are at. Is that how to look?
Yes, it would exactly. It'll give you the little Wi-Fi symbol
that
says, hey, there's a bus that's real-time pulsing 3 minutes away, 6 minutes away, 15. Uber's 3 minutes away, because Uber is a link to this. Lyft is linked. Anybody who has a real system who's linked, it's like I said, it doesn't discriminate towards transit. It says, look, these are all transit options available. You, as the rider or customer, pick what you want to use.
Okay, got it. Okay, no other questions, comments? If not, thank you very much. That was very informative.
Oh, thank you.
All right, good job. Next, we're going to have our city man. Oh, go ahead. Give him an applause. We're moving forward with technology here in Gardena. Next, we're going to have, let's see, City of Gardena Economic Development video that's going to be presented by our city manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, I'm going to ask our Economic Development Manager, Spencer De La Cruz, to come up and provide this presentation. It's actually a presentation about our new website, which is amazing, and just a short teaser on the video.
Good evening, City Council members, City Manager, Mr. City Attorney. Tonight we're going to be going over and introducing our brand new economic development website, Gardena Awaits. Let's just click. So a couple things, a little bit of background. When I joined the city roughly about 9 months ago, we really determined and assessed some of our needs within the city. And one of the biggest things that we wanted to do was go out and attract businesses, investors, retailers, and developers to Gardena. And one of the biggest opportunities I think we had within the city was not having the right tools to attract developers, retailers, et cetera. And in today's market, you want to be very competitive out there, because we're not only competing against other cities in the South Bay, we're also starting to compete with other areas in California that are becoming much more competitive to develop these types of business in, especially when it comes to the restaurants, the retailers of the world. So ultimately, we took a step back and we said, we really wanted to identify and assess what our opportunities were and what some of our strengths were. And ultimately, what we came up was with a plan to introduce a brand new website. So a couple ideas. Why should we build a new website? One of the key elements was to create an online identity that develops a professional, modern identity for our Economic Development Department as well as the City of Gardena, provide access to resources, create awareness of some of the programs through our partnerships with the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, the Los Angeles Economic Development Council, as well as some of the incentive programs that we built here internally. Thirdly, engaging our organization as well as members of the business community with some of the resources and ways that we can kind of reach out and connect with them. And ultimately, by creating a new online identity, we've increased our credibility through a transparent showcase of some of the services and expertise that we're offering the business world. Some of the major changes that we've undertaken, we created a brand new economic development logo, a brand new economic development tagline, which is now Opportunity Awaits. And one of the key things under branding and marketing representation was we wanted to create a consistent message out there to the business community, and with a recurrent theme, with a current color scheme, with a current professional imagery, we're able to do that now. Our new tagline, Opportunity Awaits, really sets a message that Gardena is a place just waiting for businesses to come to. But another key component of that is we want to be out there and we want to be proactive in how we go out to assess some of the opportunities we have here. Under our current marketing strategy, we're going to be doing a direct mail campaign. We're doing digital engagement and social media engagement. One of the things I'd like to reference all the council members to is in your packet, you're provided with a press release that's going to be going out tomorrow morning to all of the local newspapers, to all of the local business development programs. And ultimately, we're announcing some of the things that we're doing here internally to be proactive to attract developers. On another note, another component of your packet shows a package that we've put together that's a proactive letter on behalf of the city manager and myself, introducing Gardena and providing them some of the resources that we've put together. So ultimately, you all have a copy of that in your package. All of that will go out tomorrow morning. We're going to be sending packages out to 34 individual businesses that are currently not located in Gardena or within the immediate area that were identified by HDL, which is a company that we hired to engage on behalf of us to really look at some of the opportunities we have here within the city. And ultimately, our bottom line goal is to attract developers, investors, and retailers in Gardena. And that's probably one of the key components of why we launched our site. A couple of the phases that we went through, stage 1 and 2 was really about assessing our opportunities here, meeting with all the stakeholders within the city as well as in the business community, real estate brokers, developers, retailers. We sourced, gathered all of that information, and created a strategic plan on how we were going to release that. And ultimately, right now, we're sitting in stage 3. We're going to launch our marketing campaign. We're going to start engaging businesses, developers, and we're going to be starting proactive outreach. This is a really good sense of this is the new us. These are professional images of some of the things we've put together. The first feature on the left is our brand new economic development attraction package, which is all of you have a copy of that in your packet. On the right is our hotel incentive program. We've had some great success with engaging the business community with some different development opportunities here. And right below is a key feature we're going to be showing you on our website itself. And ultimately, I think it's a really unique tool that we're going to touch on next. Go ahead and pull up the website. So quickly, we're going to be showing you a teaser of our economic development video. We're going to be showing about 1 minute of that. It's located on the first slide.
Ready to be a part of our success story? You can help write the next chapter. On behalf of the Gardena Economic Development Team, we invite and welcome you to your business in Gardena. Gardena is a growing city located in the South Bay trade region of Los Angeles. a regional hub of all types of commercial and industrial activity, minutes away from SpaceX, Ring, and Tesla. Gardena is a competitive option for manufacturing and industrial companies, hospitality and residential home developments, retail stores, restaurants, corporate office relocations, and new ground-up industrial facilities. Strategically located minutes away from downtown Los Angeles International Airport, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, the StubHub Center, and the brand new LA Rams football stadium, Gardena is at the heart of Los Angeles's next generation of growth. Our access to freeways, transit, and logistics hubs is one of the main reasons why our businesses are so successful.
We like Gardena because of its location. We also like the way that Gardena has maintained a good, safe environment for the organization, or for our organization. Provides a clean neighborhood for us to do business in. Has provided us a good workforce base for us because of its location in the South Bay, its location to the airport, freeway access. All of those issues have come into play. So that's why we like Gardena. We've partnered with Gardena now for.
So roughly, that's a little teaser of our economic development video. It's completely available. It's about a 7-minute video, and it's available on our website. It's, again, on the feature page. We'll go ahead and go back and show you where you can locate that. So this is our homepage to the Economic Development website. And one of the things that we really wanted to do was we wanted to feature what made Gardena really unique. So we captured 5 what we call feature photos with specific taglines on what makes Gardena great. All of these photos were taken. These are all existing Gardena businesses. That was Southwest Offset Printing. This is Giuliano's. We have photos of the Hustler Casino. And what we're really doing is we're capturing what is going on in Gardena, what's great about Gardena, because we're really using this as an attraction tool for developers, investors to see what we have here. And we have such a diverse business community, but a lot of folks didn't realize what we really have here. And I think this does a really good way of showcasing that. Some of the unique features here on the website that I'd like to cover. So here, one of the key things that we really wanted to focus on was the access for information. We wanted to provide key pinpoints of what developers, brokers, retailers are looking for when they're evaluating a city to invest in. And ultimately, we've come up with 6 easy accessible points for them to go to. Information about our planning process, our community profile, our market analytics, as well as some of our online services, which include Gardena Direct. 2 of the key features that I wanted to introduce to the council tonight have to do with our sites and properties and project map. One of the unique things that we get asked all the time is, what are some of the properties that are available in Gardena? What's on the market for sale? What's on the market for lease? And, how can we kind of find information on that? So ultimately, there are some commercial tools that are out there. Typically, you have to pay some type of monthly or annual fee. But what we were able to do is we were able to source that data, map it through Google Maps, and make it available to the public at no charge. So ultimately, if you were to, say you were searching within an area and you had come down to, you are looking for a piece of land, and you were looking at this piece of land here. So ultimately, you get a brief description of the property, you get brief pricing information, but you also get a direct link to that property, which will take you to the brokerage information, give you more information about the property, as well as give you the opportunity to download some information about it. Now, what makes this map really unique is it also has our zoning code overlaid on top of it. We are the first city in the US to launch something like this. So ultimately, if you have information about the property and you're curious about what you can do, you go ahead and click on the zoning overlay, and the code will tell you a couple key highlights. The zoning, what you can do, what's allowed there, what's not allowed there, and typically you put some key elements about parking or height restrictions, the key elements that a lot of the developers or retailers are looking for. So it's a really, really unique tool that I think retailers and developers are going to find very beneficial. Lastly, one of the things we really wanted to do was we wanted to highlight some of the key businesses that we have here throughout the city. And so ultimately what we decided to do was we decided to do a lot of business outreach. We identified 10 different businesses that were really unique in a sense, whether they were, legacy type businesses or there were ones that were really unique. And I'll give you an example. State Brewery and G3 Urban were a couple of the first ones that really wanted to be involved. So what we did is we went out and we did an actual interview with G3 Urban about why they decided to launch here in Gardena first, give us some key information about your development, give us a brief history and overview of their company, because we want to make this information available to the public, to the residents, but also make it available to other developers because it showcases really well that Gardena is a great place to conduct business in. So ultimately that was G3. I'll show you one more. This is Zimix Brewery, which is the second brewery here in Gardena. They were kind enough, we got some great photos of the inside of the facility, their plant, the owner, as well as did a lot of informational research on them while we were there. And so ultimately, it provides a lot of transparency into the businesses that are here. And I think by showcasing some of these businesses, it provides some of the residents information about something that they might not know was here. So ultimately, I will let you guys kind of go through the site. I'll answer any questions that you might have, but this is our new website, Gardena Waits.
Wow, it's very impressive. I really like the maps on there. Any questions or comments?
Just one.
Start here, then we'll go to you.
So when you say that, we're the first ones to ever have anything, that's us. We've been doing this for a long, long time, that everybody looks at our city as, how do they get these things that nobody else has? And I think that's what does put us on the map, is that we are a forward-thinking city that finds things that nobody else has, and everybody wants to be like us. So this presentation, we really thank you, because it does show what a city that we are, that you should come to us first before you look anywhere else. So congratulations, it's a great program.
I appreciate it, thank you.
I think Councilmember Cascadian first, and now you. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is, you mentioned you went out to 34 outside companies.
That's correct.
Used to solicit them to come to the city. Can we say, what kind of business they were? Like,
a lot of the businesses had to do with, a lot of them were what they call quick service retail establishments. It was really diverse. It was mixed between restaurants, quick service restaurants, as well as retail establishments. There were a few gyms on there. There were grocery stores that were identified there, as well as some entertainment uses.
I see. All right. Great presentation. Thank you very much. And believe me, I'll go out there and I will talk to some people regarding this, and I'll make it, pop out there too. So
awesome.
It's great. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll give you some packets to take when you leave. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also want to echo that this is a great presentation, and I appreciate the diversity of businesses. Now, was it kind of like a random draw of the businesses that we put on there as successes, or how did that happen in regards to that process?
We really wanted to identify very unique businesses. We didn't want to just focus on all restaurants. We really wanted to divide a diverse look at the businesses that we're trying to attract. So, something makes something really unique. For a city to have breweries, for example, it's a very unique attribute, because that type of business tends to lend toward other type of developers that want to pick up on that type of traction that a city might have. So we identified our breweries that way. Residential development is another key component in the city. We would like to see more of that, some master plan development. So we identified between KB Home, who declined to take part of it, and G3, who's done a phenomenal job in engaging us as a city and community. They wanted to take part. So we really tried to hit all of the different types of development that we were trying to attract. So we did hotel hospitality, we did restaurant, and we did residential.
Thank you.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes, I wanted to commend you on the presentation. It really accents what our city is, and as Mayor Pro Tem alluded to was that we're the first to do a lot of things when it comes to the United States. We were the first and only city other than Hermosa to not do redevelopment. And when the payback came for all the other cities to pay back the state of California, Gardena was one of those cities who didn't have to pay a dime. And that future thinking, thanks to groups like No Grab and stuff like that, keeps us on the forefront of other cities around us. And I truly feel that we are the jewel of the South Bay.
I agree.
Okay, well, if there are no other questions or comments, thank you for the presentation. Looks really good.
Thank you.
All right.
Great work, Spencer.
Okay, next we're going to go on to the sustainability plan, and that will be presented by our city manager.
Mayor, sir, to members of the City Council, I'm going to wait till it gets started on the projector.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. So as the city has looked at how it can improve its commitment to sustainability, in many regards, the city has somewhat been behind other cities in regards to this endeavor. And so at the direction of the City Council, we're looking at different ways to approach our city's commitment to sustainability and what we can do in the short term, midterm, and long term to enhance our city's sense of responsibility towards this endeavor. So the first thing is a lot of people talk about sustainability. What is this? This is probably one of the best definitions that encompasses the actual definition in a broad sense to fit a lot of different categories and different things that you can do in terms of sustainability. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but in essence, it's really about creating and maintaining conditions where we're not looking just about what's happening today, but we're looking for our future and being able to sustain our not only our economies, but our way of life and for not only our current generation, but future generations as we are stewards of our resources. So how do we create a sustainability plan? We established 3 real concepts that we're going to be working on. First and foremost is establishing a unified vision of what we want. That happens through working with our community, our employees, and all of our partners to come up with a plan that we all can gather around and support that really sets the stage for what we want to do next. And that's develop and implement, policies and strategies that are actionable and that can actually hopefully let us attain our vision. And they have to be measurable, they have to be visible so that the community as well as employees and our partners understand that there's progress moving forward. And then once we make that, those strategies, it's like anything else. We have to align our resources, our people, and support processes that will once again support that vision. Although it's fairly basic, it's coming up with a vision, developing the things that you need to do to support it, and then aligning the things that make it happen to actually make it succeed. So where do we begin? One of the things we're doing already is engaging our employees and then stakeholders. And we're going to continue to do that through community workshops and meetings to understand how as a community we can both enhance our sustainability efforts as a city internally with what we do, but how can the community do that as well by helping us obtain our vision. And then once again, establishing a place that reduces waste. We're taking maximum steps to promote recycling efforts throughout not only internally but externally. We talk a lot about illegal dumping, for example. Many times that illegal dumping is not just items that can throw in the trash. It consists of items that are damaging to our environment, tires, paint, oil, etc. But yet we also have a hazardous waste roundup that people can take those items to and have those things properly displayed. disposed of. Last weekend, we had about 650 residents or opportunities for 6 or 77 residents come in and deposit those materials at Arthur Johnson Park, which was very successful. We need to do more of that. We also need to talk about how we, look at our events, how we purchase things, how we construct things. For example, many of our events, some of them are very huge for the Jazz Festival. What kind of efforts are we taking to ensure that we're recycling, that we're minimizing our waste, we're minimizing the use of, emission-causing generators, et cetera, so that we can not only walk the walk, but talk the talk and walk the walk. And we need to make sure that we measure and make adjustments as we take an event like that or anything that we do and say, okay, how did we do? What could we do better? What are we going to do next to ensure that we're working towards our vision? So some of the city initiatives, and although they may start small, it's important. These baby steps build on each other and helps meet our goal. Like focusing on our energy uses, LED lighting throughout any facility we own, including outside facilities such as our parks, our outside lighting. Those outside lighting for some of the major fields they consume a lot of energy. Looking at those things. Talking about timers, this is one of the only buildings that you walk into and the lights will stay off unless you walk in and they'll turn on. That, promoting that type of efficiency citywide will save energy. Thinking about how we did the windows in the City Hall complex and the police department, but there are many other parts of our facilities that don't have those insulated windows that cause us to spend more energy on heating and cooling. And looking at the type of appliances and other things that we have in our city, whether it be toilets that use a lower amount of water, urinals that you don't use any water, appliances, and we have a lot of appliances actually throughout the entire community, throughout the entire city, and how we can more effectively purchase low energy appliances. Water is we use a lot of water to water the fields. Not lately because it's been raining, but when that starts to go away, we can look at how we can be more efficient in use of our water. And then once again, we have to be on a strategic goals. How many of these gasoline vehicles, diesel vehicles can we replace with either compressed natural gas or electric vehicles? The goal is to head towards all electric vehicles, and we're doing, G-Trans is sort of leading the pack by going to compressed natural gas vehicles and then also moving a portion of their fleet to all electric. And those are big purchase items, but there's a lot of smaller purchased items, such as small vehicles that we can increase the number of electric vehicles. We have done some strategic purchases there, hybrids, but moving towards more electrical vehicles now. They have a better range is something that we need to do. And then little things like going paperless. It's wonderful to see that everyone up there, it doesn't have a huge stack of 300 or 400 copies of paper that quite often is tossed after they're done, and all of you have committed to using a Padlet of some sort. We use, our water bottles. These little things make a difference, and over time they add up, and it's our commitment. And then finally, increasing our recycling efforts. We talked last week with the staff about how important it is to recycle so many things, and things that you don't even think about, like batteries. We place battery recycling bins in all the facilities and want to encourage them to use that rather than throwing them in the trash, which they should not do. Purchasing recycled paper and eliminating the use of plastics. All those things, as a city, we can be the leader to show our community. We're not just asking you to do it, we are doing it. And that's really important. And finally, looking at how we can make our buildings more green. We have a lot of rooftops here, and very few, except for G-Trans, has no solar panels on them. We have a lot of parking lots that we can look at putting solar panels on to reduce our energy consumption, and look at how we can maximize that throughout the city, not only from the city standpoint, but partnering with the private industry to encourage them as they do their developments. So I bring all these things to your attention because in the near future, you'll be seeing more and more things come in front of you for approval that are geared towards sustainability and working towards, you know, our vision. And it's important just to kind of highlight some of the high-level things that we're looking at. Many more will be filled in, but it's important, I think, now to really start taking a very aggressive and progressive move forward in terms of sustainability. At this point, I'll take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councilmember Henderson?
More like a comment. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to commend us all, Madam City Clerk, Mr. City Manager, my colleagues up there in regards to going paperless. This is exciting that we're doing this. So I want to let the public know that this was a group effort and everything just to champion this. And I believe our city clerk staff is really enjoying the fact that we've gone paperless. Everybody's smiling in the city clerk's office. So I just want to make that comment. Thank you. That means he's got more time to do more work.
Councilmember Cascanian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, question regarding Arthur Johnson Park that we collect all that hazardous waste. Was there any impact to our general fund? Did we have to pay for it, or how can we dispose of it? I mean, where do you go?
Sanitation.
That's a good question. We can have one free event per year. The events at Arthur Johnson Park have been very, very successful. It's actually the way the parking lot's, you know, designed. It's very easy to get in and out of, the way they have you go through the queue and you pull in, you drop off your stuff and then exit. So it's been very successful there. I just spoke to Alejandra Orozco, who works out of my office, about coordinating more than just once a year. If we do it more than once a year, then what we have to do is partner with our trash hauler, and they will provide additional events, but we do have to share some of the cost on that. But it is worth it if we're getting people to dispose of those hazardous materials in the right way, rather than leaving them on the side of the road or in our parkways, and our poor public works crews have to go and pick it up, and we're going to pay for the disposal anyways.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? If not, okay, thank you very much. And we're going to move on to proclamations. So the next proclamation, the first proclamation we have is Gardena Library Week, which is April 7th through 13th, 2019. I believe we have representatives who are here if you want to come forward as I'm reading the proclamation. And it states here, whereas 2019 marks the 61st anniversary of National Library Week, first celebrated in April 1958, as promoted 61 years ago today, libraries are not just about books, but what they can do for and with people. As libraries of all types are at the heart of cities, towns, schools, and campuses, and whereas libraries have long served and trusted and treasured institutions where people of all backgrounds can come together, connect, and serving the cornerstones of democracy. And whereas libraries and librarians build strong communities through transformative services, programs, and expertise as they promote civic engagement by keeping people informed and aware of community events and issues, whereas the officials and citizens of Gardena are justifiably proud of our impressive and thriving local libraries, and whereas Gardena Mamie Dear Memorial Library enjoys a high total circulation of resources for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or social economic status, by offering services and educational material that transforms lives and strengthens communities. And whereas these expressions of success should be accompanied with proper tribute to Community Library Manager Wendy Lee and her trained and dedicated staff, and whereas for the past 54 years, the members of the Gardena Valley Friends of the Library have provided consistent and loyal support to help our library sustain its effectiveness through their valuable service to our community. Whereas the week of April 7th through 13th, 2019 has been set aside to recognize National Library Week as well as Gardena Library Week, and the 2019 theme is Libraries Equal Strong Communities. So we proclaim April 7th through 13th, 2019 to be Gardena Library Week in our community, and encourage citizens of all ages to visit Gardena Mamie Dear Memorial Library during this week, and urge everyone to become a regular patron throughout the year to take advantage of the wonderful resources available, as well as to acknowledge and thank the librarians and their staff and the library's friends for making information accessible to all who walk through a library's doors. So I believe we have representatives today. Would you like to introduce yourselves first?
Madam Mayor, honorable members of the council, Mr. City's Attorney, Mr. City Manager, I'm Wendy Lee, the manager of Gardena Library, and on behalf of the Friends, the staff, and customers, I'm honored to receive this proclamation. I want to thank you for your continued support of the library. As you may know, Gardena Library is part of the larger LA County Library System, and I am proud to say that we have once again been nominated for the 2019 National Medal Award by the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and this award is an equivalent to the Oscars for libraries, if you will.
Wow.
So we're very proud, and we hope that this is the year that we're going to win. And this nomination is a testament to all the wonderful programs and services the library provides for the community. And to commemorate Gardena Library Week, we have many programs upcoming this week, including a robotics workshop for kids and a watercolor painting class for adults. And as always, all library programs are free, and so we hope that you'll be able to join us. So I want to thank you once again, and here is Ms. Eleanor Bersano.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, City Council, and everyone here, including Ed and Peter. Thank you, County Community Library Manager Wendy. My name is Eleanor Bersano, President of the Friends of the Library. I am here this evening with Vice President Elaine Bersano, FOA member Joyce Watanabe, and in the crowd, FOA member Cheryl Sherman. Cheryl, wave if you're still here. We're happy to report that, yes, the Friends of the Library, also called the FOL, this April are celebrating 54 years of service to the Gardena community and the Gardena Valley Mamie Deer Memorial Library. We support the library financially by promoting their many reading, literacy, cultural, and historical programs for children and adults. This evening, we would probably like to welcome the newest member of the Friends of the Library, our very own Mayor, Tasha Serta, a great supporter of community groups, such as the Mamie Deer Library and its friends. Thank you, Mayor, for joining us. Let us hear it for the Mayor. As Wendy said, and the Mayor, we would like you to visit our library all year. And we would like to invite everyone to visit the library on the first Saturday of the month for the Friends of the Library book sale from 10 to 12 o'clock. Monies collected go toward supporting our library. Hope to see you there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next we're going to move on to proclamation that will be presented to GDAP and to the high school task force. Are you guys still present? Do you guys want to come forward? Come on forward here while I read this proclamation. So let's see. Proclamation. It says, whereas unfolding of historical events dating back to the 1970s has closely associated the day of April 20th or 420 with the culture of marijuana use, especially here in the United States, and whereas the Compassionate Use Act of 1996 and the Proposition 64 were initiate statutes that paved the way for legalization of medical and recreational marijuana in the state of California. And whereas legalization effectively would perpetuate the culture that promotes marijuana use, thereby resulting in increased social acceptance and accompanying decreased perception of harm, and whereas a critical issue that lies at the core of this phenomenon is increased youth access to marijuana at an alarming rate. Further, most recent findings of community assessment conducted by the Substance Abuse Prevent and Control of the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health within its servicing plan area, which includes the city of Gardena, shows that 59% of those surveyed perceive it to be very easy and somewhat easy to get marijuana on the streets, and 23% perceive marijuana use in their neighborhood to be a major problem. And whereas the same assessment study establishes the mean age of initiating marijuana use among users with the SPA 8 to be 16.7 years of age, which is younger than the legal age of 21 for possession and use. So we proclaim April 20th, 2019 to be challenge the norm and influence of marijuana use on Youth Day, to call on all United Gardena to undertake concerted actions to inform and educate youth and adults about the harmful effects of marijuana use on individuals and public health, especially on the development of the brain, as well as regarding social costs in terms of injuries, loss of life, and destruction of public and private property that occur as a result of impaired driving. So at this time, is this High School Task Force or GDAP? Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead. Would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mayor Serta and council members of Gardena. My name is Tiffany Tan, and I'm one of the co-facilitators for High School Task Force. Throughout this week, I wanted to highlight one of the activities that we're doing, which is the Marijuana Board, in which students are filling out these postcards in which they're prompt, when I hear the word marijuana, I think of blank. And oftentimes across this board, the responses vary. You have responses that say it stinks. You have responses that say addiction. But moreover, you also have quote unquote negative responses such like heaven and time traveling. But moreover, I think when I was reading it across the board, there were multiple responses in which it was a lot more thought-provoking, and if anything hit home. Some of the responses said my dad, and other responses said my uncles. So oftentimes, I think with this recent legalization of marijuana, legal does not mean safe, and that's the message that we're highlighting throughout this throughout this week with Anti 420, specifically with this high school task force, and then the youth being the populated target population. Yes. I'd like to pass it over to my co-facilitator, Jessica Abaya.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Serta and the City Council members. Thank you. My name is Jessica, and I co-facilitate with Tiffany Tan at the Gardena High School. And so our event is for a week, and I do have extra flyers to pass out. I do invite you guys to come and join us. Some of the highlighted events, we started on Monday, followed by, we will have another event on Wednesday and Friday. So some of the events that were highlighted that day was the food booth, in which the take-home message there was for youths to be able to understand that we are able to enjoy food with friends and family that is not laced with marijuana. Some other key events that we held was Spot the Pot and Jeopardy, and we had a food booth as well as the poster board. Spot the Pot, however, was one of the highlighted key events, and I do have it here. So in Spot the Pot, on this panel and that panel really educates the individuals, the youth, that especially inhaling versus ingesting versus accidental. Some of the take-home messages is with this Spot the Pot, it's really misleading for the youths to not be able to identify the items that may be the real item and have laced marijuana inside of the items. So we have these little guys, and what we asked them was to spot the pot. So in these items, we had different items that you can choose, and they were able to put the guy on the item, and right underneath had the correct answer. And the take-home message was that some individuals that may encounter these items in social events, it might not have an effect within like the first 5 minutes. It actually takes 60 minutes to take an effect. So individuals that might have accidentally came across a product that was laced with marijuana could have an accidental overdose. And I'm going to pass it over to Mary, which was one of our youths that participated in the event.
Hello, Mayor Tasha Serta and our council members. My name is Mary Ramirez. I'm a senior at Gardena High School. This is also my 4th year with High School Task Force. And so basically over the course of my 4 years, one of our special events was our Anti 420 week, and this is our 3rd year doing it. And then, so to kick off our 420 week, we had all of these activities, Spot the Pot, but I personally had an experience with my activity where it was a food booth where it was just regular foods like Doritos or Lunchables that you could still enjoy because some of these like foods still has edibles in it, and our main message was that you could have a healthy and drug-free lifestyle just from eating regular foods. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. That was very informative. Okay, next we're going to move on to appointments. And this is the reorganization of our city council with our selection of mayor pro tem. Before we go further, I have a quick question, and I don't know why I can't remember this here, but do we vote on this or do we just appoint only?
You vote on those positions, and especially the next mayor pro tem.
Oh, okay.
It was indicated that no one wanted to switch their committees, so probably the most appropriate action would be to vote on the next mayor pro tem.
Okay, but can we take both votes at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. So for the first part here, under the reorganization of our, or selection of our mayor pro tem, do we have a motion to appoint a person? I'll make the motion. Oh.
I move we appoint Councilman Cascanian to mayor pro tem.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. And also, I also forgot to mention, is everybody okay with their council assignments as well? Because we're going to take both of those at the same time. Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made to appoint Councilmember Cascanian as mayor pro tem, as well as everybody accepting their assignments to their outside committees. The motion was made by Councilmember Henderson and seconded by, who was the second one? And by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian?
Yes.
And Mayor Serta?
Yes. Okay. The only thing I'd like to say is, Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka, you've done a great job over the past year. I appreciate you sitting to my right and helping me out. And I look forward to the great job that Councilmember Cascanian is going to do moving forward in the future. We don't have to necessarily move the chairs today. We're going to wait until the next meeting. We'll actually switch chairs and actually switch the titles at that time. So everybody can stay seated for the moment. Okay. We're going to move on to appointments. Does any member of the council have any appointments to any commissions, committees, boards, or council at this time? No. If not, let's move on to the consent calendar. Does any member of the council wish to discuss any of the items on the consent calendar? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's more of a question for Mr. City Manager. In regards to when we develop the agenda, how do we classify which items are consent, which ones are closed session, which ones are open session?
Generally, it's a judgment call based on the level of sophistication of the item. Generally, a large ticket, very important items are going to be coming in front of you. If there's anything that requires your specific attention, anything I specifically want to highlight, I put that on the regular agenda. Most of the personal action reports, the warrant register, things are sort of more routine, go on consent.
Thank you. That was all. I just needed that refresher.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian?
Yes.
Mayor Serta?
Yes. Let's see. Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. The meeting on April 2nd, 2019 was canceled. We're going to move on to our oral communications. We have 4 speakers tonight. And let me just read you the order, and you guys can start lining up. The first one is going to be Kimberly Haddon. Then it's Benjamin Butler. And let's see. Sean Kim, and then Cheryl Sherman. I just want to remind everybody that if you could limit your remarks to 3 minutes. When the yellow light comes on, it will alert you that your 2 minutes are up. When the red light comes on, it will alert you that your 3 minutes are up. And I really appreciate your cooperation in advance for staying within that time period there. So let's go ahead with Ms. Hatton.
Good evening, Mayor Serta. Good evening, City Council and residents of Gardena. My name is Kimberly Hatton, board member at Serra High School, and I'm pleased to announce news and updates from our school. We celebrate excellence at Serra High School in education. Over 80 students made the Principal's Honor Roll, which is receiving a GPA of 4.0 and above. So congratulations to our students. They received a celebration at Magic Mountain on April 8th. So congratulations to our students receiving over 4.0 GPA. Also, we have our prospective students. We have interviews on April 27th. So if you would like to be a Cavalier, come to our school April 27th to participate in our student interviews. Joelle Wally, congratulations. She received the Gardena Police Foundation Scholarship Award. So congratulations to Joelle Wally. And also, our sports medicine class, directed by Ms. Martin, the entire class received 100% CPR AED certification. So congratulations to our sports medicine class at Serra High School. Forgive me. Arts. We, if you like plays, we have the Adam Family musical, which will be on May 2nd, 4th, and 5th. We have pre-sale tickets available, so if you like plays and the musical, please come to our play, the Adams Family musical, May 2nd, 4th, and 5th. You'll hear more about this in the future. This Friday, our Serra High School Golf Classic, April 12th. If you like to golf, please join us. Foursomes are still available, so please join us at Chester, Washington Golf Course this Friday. On April 27th, we will have our 9th annual Classic Car Show. So it is open to the public. Classic cars, muscle cars, and hot rods. It's a voting competition, so please join us for a wonderful day enjoying our classic cars. So with that, we do appreciate the time you give us to share all the wonderful news happening at Serra High School. And on behalf of our principal, Mr. Guzman, peace and blessings to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Benjamin Butler.
My name is Benjamin Butler, and I live at 2812 West 146th Street, Gardena. Honorable Mayor and members of the council, I come before you to once again talk about the speeding cars on 147th Street between Crenshaw and Van Ness. They often just disregard the speeding electric speeding sign up there, which says 30 miles an hour, and it says green, and anything over 30 miles shows up red. My wife and I walk a dog 3 or 4 times a day around the block where we live, and these cars, I've seen the red sign come up 40 to 45 miles an hour. And they just don't care what happens. A couple times I've seen the cars pass each other, just go around each other like it's a 2-lane highway. So they're very fast. And I've been up here before, like I say, and I was wondering if you can get some stop signs up there. Now, if you're short of money, I do read the Gardena Valley News, and here we sit on $23.5 million. And I was wondering if you can put a few signs up there, stop signs, if you can afford it. Or you can hire some more law enforcement people to grab some of these people. $23.5 million, that ought to cover it, I think. And you're sitting here looking at me, and I'm looking at you folks, and as I said, I've talked about this before, and nothing's happened. So I think you ought to get some action on it. Last time I did mention that there's a handicapped facility at Dublin and 147th, and they have taken care of handicapped people there. And if any of those people get out of their control, although there's been no problem, they could walk out in the street and something could happen. Gardena would be held liable for what goes on there. Also, I've seen they deliver supplies at this handicap place, and the truck just parks almost in the middle of the block there, puts the flashers on, and hopefully people will still slow down, hopefully. So that's about all I can really say. But I do read the Gardena Valley News. And $23.5 million, folks. It's about time, don't you think? Thanks for putting the heat on here tonight, by the way. Thank you.
Mr. Butler, I thought that we were working on that. I thought there was like a traffic study in process. I know these things don't happen quickly, but I do know it is a fast street going down. I personally walked down that street from Crenshaw to Van Ness, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So when you brought that to our attention, I walked down that street. Councilmember Henderson lives near there, so I know you're aware of it too, as well as I'm sure other members of council, have gone by there. So this isn't going on deaf ears, I assure you of that. But give us just a little bit more time, because there is a proper way that this is done, traffic studies, et cetera. And I believe our city manager can continue following up with you, along with our chief of police, as far as maybe what the status of that situation is right now.
Well, I'm waiting. Everybody's waiting in the neighborhood too.
Okay, well.
All the dog walkers are waiting too.
Well, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, this complaint has come up, to my knowledge, probably 4 or 5 times. We've conducted a number of evaluations of the traffic in that area. The installing of a traffic control device such as a stop sign has not met the standards necessary to do that. We have assigned this every time this has come up. We put traffic enforcement up there. We also put a traffic calming device, which is the radar sign there. The stop sign is probably not the most appropriate use. We've had recent discussions about looking at the placement of roundabouts to slow traffic down as a calming device. Mm-hmm. Some cities are using more and more of that, where you have to slow down and go around it. Long Beach has installed quite a few.
Right.
So those are things that we're looking at. Before anyone leaves the council chambers, if they make a complaint, it gets reassigned already, and this one has been reassigned again to look at to see if any of the conditions have changed, and we will follow up.
Okay. We're still working on it, Mr. Butler, but I'd like to make sure that we're more aggressive with this here, because it is a serious issue. And all the neighborhood watch meetings that I attend, that is something that comes up on a regular basis. And you have my word, Mr. Butler, we're going to be more aggressive with this. As mentioned, stop signs probably may not be the answer, because it's that false sense of security when you're crossing across there, and people may or may not stop. But we're still going to be working on this. So this isn't going on deaf ears.
One last point. Some of the students at Sarah walk down that street after school. Okay. They kind of, sometimes they mosey out into the street too, so it's dangerous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Next is Sean Kim.
These are for the mayor and the council members, and this is for the
Mr. Kim, you can go ahead and start.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for this time. My name is Sean Kim, Program Director with representing International Youth Fellowship. We are a nonprofit youth organization focusing on building foundation for world leaders and global-minded youths. And I'm here to invite the mayor and the council members to our third annual IYF World Leaders Meeting in Los Angeles. In this meeting, we're going to be focused on mind education curriculum. And this curriculum, not like any other educational system out there, we focus on the world of the heart. Three things we focus on is deep thinking, self-control, and exchange. And through this, we're able to develop perseverance, character, and hope in the youth. At this meeting, and in the letter, you could see some of the organization that we've been working with, and some of the other council members and some mayors that's been attending to this event previously. And at the meeting, you'll be able to meet with the founder of IYF and world-renowned mind education specialist, Pastor Dr. Oksu Park. And he will share the importance of mind education and the necessity of it, and also the progress that the organization has made all over the world. And lastly, I would like to request an appointment for a meeting with the president of IYF West Coast at the earliest convenience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You can call our City Hall main number and follow up in our city manager's office for a meeting request.
Okay.
Okay, and you can do that Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 7:30 to 5.
7:30.
Yeah, through our main number, and they can help you with a meeting request.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And next we have Cheryl Sherman.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I would like to say that this month, April, is Earth Month. And on April 14th, the second Sunday of the month, we will be celebrating Earth Day at the Gardena Willows Wetland Preserve. And it's also California Native Plant Week. So we will be participating in the removal and the importance of the native plants versus the invasive plants. And I'd like to encourage everyone to come to the preserve. It will be open from 1 to 4. It's free. It's a great place for a family outing. With the sun and beautiful days that we're having, the butterflies are out and the birds are singing. I do have to say that with the wonderful rain that we had, we have a proliferation of weeds, but we're working on that. And I'd like to make a request of everyone this evening. I'm here to ask everyone to go to our website. And on our website, we have a link. First of all, let me give you the website. It's Gardena Willows with an S .org. And if you go down on the face page, go down to the leaf that says how to help. And on that page, there is many, I believe there's 12 different ways that you can help the Gardena Willows Wetland Preserve. And I can stand here and say that several of them cost you nothing. Nothing. So you can help us by example, when you make a purchase at Amazon, by registering for the Friends Being Your Charity, we can get the benefits because Amazon would give to us. So that's just one example. And with that money that we get from these donations, we use it for educational purposes. So it's not just going into a general fund. And I thank you for the time, and I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sherman. Next, we're going to move on to council items. We're going to start with council item number 8B1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8B1 is in regards to the development project at 14031 South Vermont Avenue. And just want to backtrack a little bit about Mr. Henderson's question. This would be an item that we are potentially looking at moving on to consent because you have seen this item approximately 3 times. You've had 2 presentations and you voted on it once. But I do want to remind the members of the City Council at any time you can ask something to be excluded from the consent calendar. Just trying to move the agenda along as fast as possible. Ordinance number 1803, approves zone change 2-18, changing the zoning of a 3.9 gross acre site at 14031 South Vermont Avenue and 1101 West 141st Street and 1017 West 141st Street to medium density multiple family residential R3. This was introduced by Councilman Henderson at the March 12th council meeting. This project, at the March 12, 2019 council meeting, a public hearing was conducted regarding Stonefield 63, the proposed 63 KB condominium project located at 14031 South Vermont. The resolution number 6366 and resolution number 6363 were considered and adopted by the council at that same council meeting. A public notice regarding ordinance number 1803, which is in front of you today, was officially published in the Gardena Valley News on March 28, 2019. What is required is for you to adopt ordinance number 1803.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to our regional housing number, this doesn't even get us closer. Or does it get us closer, or?
It is not going to impact our regional housing numbers.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments? I have a question. I'm a little confused because this is saying condominium townhomes. I thought it was just townhomes only. I didn't know it's condominiums as well. Because there's a difference.
They're townhomes.
They're townhomes, not condominiums, correct? Okay, thank you. If you can clarify. Because there's a difference. Condominiums, you have somebody above and below you versus townhomes, you don't.
You turn it off.
Mayor, council members, they're townhome-style condominiums. So it's still a condominium development, but they are in a townhouse style with nobody above you or below you.
But they're called condominiums?
But they're condominiums. They're not actually single-family dwellings because they're part of the, they have an ownership interest and there's common lot developments. But you are correct that there's no one above, no one below, but it's still legally a condominium. Condominium doesn't necessarily mean stacked units.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard that terminology before, but okay.
It's a technical difference, but you saw the presentation.
I did.
Yeah, you know what they look like.
I know,
and-
yeah, exactly, and that's why it threw me there. Okay. Any other questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion to adopt ordinance number 1803?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson. Cascanian.
Yes.
Cascanian, please.
That happens to us all the time.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Item number 8B2, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8B2 is a public hearing. It's an approval and agreement to assist remediation of contaminated property and to provide for the development of housing on Marine Avenue. G3 Urban Inc., developer, filed an entitlement application for development of a 64-unit townhome and live-work project on properties consisting of 2.95 acres along Marine Avenue. Developer requires a tract map and a site plan approvals to develop the project in the mixed-use overlay zone. During the due diligence phase, it became known to the developer that soil contamination existed on portions of the site. The developer and city staff agreed to terms that would provide for a path to soil remediation. The city believes it's in the best public interest for the developer to pay for the services because portions of the project site have been public nuisance for decades. For example, the old hospital there on Marine and Spinning, which you're all familiar with. And the soil contamination would cause further blight and potential delays in soil remediation. The city is prepared to pay up to $150,000 to meet the developer's obligations on the reimbursement agreement and to contribute up to an additional $650,000 to assist in the cleanup of hazardous materials on the site. The developer understands that there is no guarantee that the city will approve or conditionally approve its project. Now, there is no direct fiscal impact, and because these are really credits towards permits and other fees that they would have to pay. This is a very challenged area. The discovery of the contamination from one of the properties is a significant problem to prevent other developers from moving here and trying to move another project forward. In addition, we have a park that's adjacent to this development, as you are all aware of, that has some slight contamination issues, although it's not unsafe to be at the park. I just want to make that disclaimer. But this is a pathway to having a public-private partnership to deal with one of our blighted areas and a unique approach to trying to find real-world solutions to many of the contaminated sites that not only Gardena has, but a lot of areas in this region have.
Okay, thank you. So this is a public hearing. The hearing's now open. Madam City Clerk, do we have any speakers on this item?
No, we don't.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Residing around the corner from this site, I'm very encouraged by this opportunity for some more neighbors to move in versus the neighbors that are residing there. And I love wildlife and other things that reside there, but it'd be perfect. One thing that saddens me is that because there's a park co-located, we won't get any park and lieu fees, but I guess that's the compromise we'll have to make. So I'm for us investing in this to see what we can develop this, because that's been an eyesore for a number of years, as we all know. So, yeah.
No, I live like 2,000.
Just for the record, Councilman Henderson, although lives in that area, is not within the area that would restrict him from voting on this item.
Correct. Okay. Any other comments or questions? If not, we're going to go ahead and close the hearing. And at this time, can I get a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Councilmember Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Serta,
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem says yes.
Mayor
too.
Pro Tem
Yes.
Tanaka.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8B3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, Resolution number 6374 establishes the annual regulatory fees for wholesalers or distributors of fireworks in accordance with Section 8.16.115 of the Gardena Municipal Code related to fireworks. Now, we understand that the City Council had imposed a moratorium, but due to a recent decision by the court against the City of Gardena, the city now has to move forward with establishing the process for regulating fireworks. Resolution number 6374 establishes an annual regulatory fee to be paid by each of the fireworks wholesalers or distributors providing safe and sane fireworks to this year's approved nonprofit organizations. The regulatory fee is $8,000 for 2019. It's the same as it was when last time we did it in 2017. The fee shall be paid by and only by a wholesaler or distributor, and said fee shall be appointed to each wholesaler or distributor in accordance with Section 8.16115 of the Gardena Municipal Code. What is required is to adopt resolution number 6374.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In regards to the actual fee itself, Mr. City Manager, because this rate is the 2017 rate, is there a different rate for 2019, or is that just the market rate? Will we make it comparable?
If we're to establish a new rate, we would have to include that in the change of our fee study.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I have a couple. So since we're on the subject of approving fireworks for this year, the nonprofits that are going to participate in this here, before we had some type of lottery system, are we going to have that again, or will it be the same people from before, or will there be new people who can apply for this? How's that going to work?
It all depends on who applies. There's been years where we've not had to have a lottery because there was no need to.
Okay.
I guess it depends on who applies this year.
And how many slots are open for this?
I think there's 8.
Okay, so there's 8 slots. And what is the period that, if somebody were watching this right now, that they would apply for? Would it be now, or is there a certain, do we have that?
This is just this is for the regulatory fee. If you're
Right.
interested in applying for a permit, you should contact the Community Development Department, and they can provide you all that information.
Okay, only because we're just talking about this here right now.
Yeah.
The other question I have is, you have to be a nonprofit or like a church or something to participate in this. Will any group have the opportunity to have maybe 2 locations, or one group with 2 locations, or will it only be one? For instance, one nonprofit can only have 1 location. Is that how it's going to be?
One can only, and the only stipulation would be is if there was, let's say, only 7 that wanted to have one, and there was one that could do 2, because there's one that's open. I think we could provide that, but that has not ever been the case. They're separate and distinct nonprofit organizations.
Okay, I see. Okay, that was the main information I need to know. Okay, any other questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 6374? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Under duress, yes.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Under the duress, yes.
and Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to council directives at this time. Does any member of the council have any directives? Councilmember Medina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've been noticing the presentation that we had earlier with regards to the city of Gardena, and I've checked around the surrounding cities in the South Bay, but I would like to recommend that we look into having a video department in the city of Gardena, because as you can tell, the videos make a big difference on our presentation, and we have so many events in the city of Gardena that are never videotaped. So if we could start a video department in our city, obviously you put it out for bid and all that other stuff, but I really think and not only will it push and enhance what we have going now, but you'll get to see. At one time, we had volunteers that would videotape baseball games and football games and basketball games for the kids, but we also videotape things like the Jazz Festival and the Heritage Festival and events that we had at one time. So if I could get a second, I'd really appreciate that, so we can look into having a video department in the city of Gardena, because I've seen other cities that are smaller than us, like Lawndale. They have a video department, and anytime you want to find out what's going on in Lawndale, you just look up their video section and events are pushed up. So I guess I don't get a second. Okay. Thank you.
Any other directives? Okay, City Manager, your directives and council items?
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, I'm proud to announce that the Cinco de Mayo Committee signed their MOU, so we have one outstanding city partnership with the Sister City Association, which will be hopefully completed in the next month or so, which will bring all of our close partnerships under an MOU, which I think has been very helpful moving forward, and all the parties understand their responsibilities. There's a partnership with the Hustler Casino. They have volunteered to help us with an Easter donation drive to help support our pantry. So people are encouraged to drop off their canned, non-perishable items at the Hustler Casino, and we're very happy with the partnership with them to do that for our pantry. I wanted to update everyone on the Nakaoka Center AV improvements. It's not as easy as we would think, and it's not as inexpensive as we would think, but we will have a first-rate AV system in place at the Nakaoka Center. We're finalizing the bids now. It's in the range of approximately $70,000, which is long overdue, and hopefully in the near future, I'll be bringing that contract to the City Council for their approval. Very happy to announce that the City of Gardena has started its first ever Leadership Academy for employees. We are taking applications through April 19th, and the Leadership Academy starts May 6th. There'll be 8 sessions where our employees are hopefully going to build their skills on leadership and developing our next directors, deputy directors, city managers, etc. So it's a really good investment on our personnel. It's nice that we have the ability to move that forward. Special thanks to our admin services, Clint Osorio, and HR, Nora Versailles, for making that a reality. Exciting thing that rec staff is doing is they're going to Neighborhood Watch and other meetings to discuss what park improvements the community would like to see, pop-up meetings to discuss that, and also programming improvements, such as different programs that we can offer at the park. So it's another way of direct interfacing with our community to really tailor our communities and our organizational services to what the community needs. So that's exciting, and be looking forward to seeing the outcome of that. I have nothing else to report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to council remarks. So first up is Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. So my apologies to the foundation that I missed scholarship presentations. That's one of my favorites. But on a different note, that day my mom passed away on the 4th at 93. So I have to actually say thank you to the Gardena Explorer Post for the flowers that they sent to the house, to the Gardena Police Officers Association, who also sent flowers, and to Chief Kang and his command staff. Thank you very much. The flowers are very nice, and And a lot of the staff, thank you very much for your thoughts. Lisa, thanks for that card. It was nice. So my mom's funeral will be on the 2nd of May at Gardena Valley Baptist Church at 10. And that ends my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next is Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, condolences to my colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. That's a club that none of us want to belong to, but I understand that for sure. So thoughts and prayers to you and your family during this time. Since our last gathering, I attended Perry Middle School Career Day and Read a Book Day with Officer Sterling Kim there. He looked great in plain clothes. I didn't recognize him, so I thought he was working undercover and everything. So that was a great opportunity to actually sit with our young community leaders here and everything. And they asked a lot of interesting questions to be 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So it was a great opportunity. Also that same day, I got asked to participate in Career Day at Verbum Day High School. So any Eagles out there, that was a great opportunity. I'm waiting for the invitation from Sarah High School, so they haven't asked me yet. She left and everything. But it's great when we get the opportunity to actually take some time out with the youth and our future leaders, especially in our community and other communities around the city. I also attended the South Bay Association of Realtors event that is led by our Madam City Clerk, Mina Semenza. It was a great event and everything like that, although she did not buy me any beverage or anything like that, but it's okay.
It was free, wasn't it?
So I want to thank her for that. And I also met with some of our other colleagues at the South Bay Council of Governments Broadband Initiative. We're working together, our South Bay cities, to make sure we can bring broadband to our communities. The hope to bring in broadband to Gardena, it definitely provides some opportunity in regards to connectivity in our parks, connectivity in our community. So we're trying to work with Metro to make sure that we receive our adequate share of funding for that. So there was a support letter that the South Bay Council of Governments would like our South Bay cities to send to Metro to make sure that we get our fair share so we can wire up our community, because it does bring a lot of benefits in association with transit-oriented development and different things like that. So we're trying to do our part to reduce our greenhouse gases and participate in good transportation corridors in the community. Also, Madam Mayor, tonight I would also like us, if we could, adjourn in the memory of Ermias Joseph Askedum. He's also known as Nipsey Hussle, but a reason why I want to hope that we can adjourn in his memory is that he's an example of, for the youth, a young man that started on one path and then progressed his life and ended up on another path and worked to really become a part of the solution than the problem. As we all know, he was participant in a lot of gang activity, got involved in the music career, but then with those proceeds, he worked to invest in the community and invest in the youth in his area and everything like that. So that's commendable. You know, sometimes we all always want to focus on the negative, but when somebody has that Paul on the road to Damascus moment and become a new individual, I think we need to recognize that. So I definitely like to recognize that, because to the youth, he actually was setting a positive example. So it's unfortunate that he lost his life to another member in the community. He was becoming a great asset to the Los Angeles Police Department as well as LA County Sheriff, and I think it was going to be the start of some real positivity in our youth in regards to their development and leadership and community leadership. So, Madam Mayor, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next is Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I got to deliver birthday cakes to 7 convalescent homes, which I do every last Friday of the month, and they always are very appreciative of that and start up conversations every time we deliver cakes to them because someone's thinking about them, and they really, really, truly appreciate that. I also had a West Basin Water meeting, where we had a synopsis of the past 10 years, and everyone on the City Council has this memo from the West Basin Water Board, and in the past 10 years, we've had 7 dry years where there's been no rain. And last year we had 15 inches worth of rain for the whole year. This year we have 19 inches worth of rain. And what we need to look at is Diamond Lake storage is at 180%. So they're actually working on saving more water and distributing it to more cities. Mayor Garcetti just initiated the Hyperion as a distributing center for all recycled water rather than to have it where we had it before. So we can take some opportunities on recycled water where we can utilize it more than we did before. And we're working with West Basin to get that done so we can have recycled water in all the rest of our 5 parks in the city of Gardena. Right now, we only have water at recycled water at Arthur Johnson Park. So we'd like to move it over to Recreation Park, Masfukai Park, and then Bell and Freeman and Thornburg, and ultimately at Raleigh Park. And at really no cost to the city because of the overage of water that we have right now, especially for recycled water. And this coming Friday, we'll have a meeting of the Metropolitan Bus Service Council, which Mr. Crespo will be joining us as well, and that's where he got some of his great ideas to improve our bus lines, which we're a shining example to the rest of the bus companies around the Los Angeles area. And so that ends my report.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Medina. They all look alike. Medina.
Henderson. You guys are some handsome fellows, let me say that.
One thing I'd like to add to your report, I noticed when you mentioned you delivered cakes. I think it's probably proper that we give a little recognition to Waste Resources, because I believe they're the ones who donate the cakes, correct?
Yes, originally it was donated by the Gardena Carson Rotary Club, and they started running out of money, so the Waste Resources people who also service our city as well as Carson donated the money to buy the cakes for them because they didn't want the convalescent homes to lose out. And to them, they just donate like $150 a month, and to them it's really a great investment into the city, especially for our seniors.
Okay, great, thank you. Next for myself, my report, since the last council meeting, the day after our last council meeting, the next day I went to Sacramento to represent the JPA to lobby with some assembly members and state senators in Sacramento. And my role in doing that was to seek their help with some issues that are going on in our casinos that you'll be hearing about in the coming, probably in the next few months. So I flew up there for one day, flew up there that morning, came back that evening. And then on the next day, I attended the South Bay Association of Realtors annual Elected Officials Day. And again, I want to thank our city clerk, who's also the president of the South Bay Association of Realtors, for having a really nice, elegant event. I really enjoyed that. I also attended that following Friday, the Jazz Festival committee meeting, and that is going along very well. And I believe tickets will be going on sale on May the, help me out here, Stephanie. May the 6th. So for those of you who are waiting to get your tickets, May 6th, it's official, they go on sale. Also, I attended the New Frontier Democratic Club's 59th Installation Awards Luncheon that also Councilmember Henderson was present at as well, too. That was a very nice event that was held at the Marriott. And then also on this past Thursday, myself and Councilmember Kaskanian, we attended the Gardena Police Foundation's annual college scholarship luncheon. And again, I always have to thank the Police Foundation for just doing such a great job and helping out our youth there. They were really very bright young individuals who were receiving the scholarships this year. And every year they pick very bright individuals, but every year they seem like they're just getting better and better, these students here. So my hat's off to the foundation for donating to their education. And then later on that evening, I attended the Tri-City CERT meeting where their speaker was Chief Kang, and he gave the group a lot of great information as it relates to things that CERT members can do in the process of being prepared for things like earthquakes or some type of natural disaster, and answered a lot of questions that even I had that I thought I knew it all, but apparently I didn't. So thank you, Chief. You did a great job there. Also, I attended a memorial repast for a longtime resident and Elks member, Mr. Martin Alvarez with Councilmember Medina as well. And let's see, what else did I attend? Actually, that was all that I attended. And but it was a very nice event that lots and lots of people that were there at the Elks Club. In fact, the place was packed. It was a really nice repast there. And then just lastly, I too would like to give condolences to Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka, and not only for myself, but from the entire council in the city. Anything that we can do as your city family to help out during this time. I know it's tough, but whatever you need, please feel free to call on any of us. So that ends my report, and next up is Councilmember Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to say my condolences to Rodney. I feel sorry for your loss. My condolences to you and your family. I also attended the South Bay Association of Realtors elected official gathering. Thank you, Mina. Great food, and we had a good drink.
Did she buy you a drink?
Well, yes, she did. Yes. It was a great event. A lot of elected officials from South Bay. We had talked about some, things about the cities. What can we do and how can we improve in South Bay? I did also attended the Gardena Police Foundation Scholarship Luncheon. Thank you, Police Foundation, for the generous money that they gave to the students and to a couple of our explorers. Congratulations to all recipients. On Friday, April the 5th, I had the opportunity to meet with our Assembly member, Al Muratsushi, and we talked about the city of Gardena and how well we're doing. And he did congratulate, and he offered his full support that if we need anything, he's there for us. I also attended the viewing and the rosary service for Martin Castaneda Alvarez on last Thursday. And lastly, this past Sunday, Madam Mayor, I attended a dinner with Armenia's First Lady, that she's in Los Angeles. And we discussed a little bit, and she asked me, how I was elected as of Armenian in the city of Gardena. So I did explain a little bit how it works and everything else, because she only knows that Glendale, Pasadena, Burbank, it's a lot of Armenians. So, it's, and how I get elected over here in non-Armenian community. So anyway, it was a great dinner, and that ends my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to go on to announcements here. Just a couple of quick announcements. It was mentioned earlier, but the Hustler Casino has an Easter donation drive from April the 8th through 18th. And looks like the drop-off is at the Hustler Casino on Redondo Beach Boulevard and Vermont. And again, this is from April 8th through 18th. And the city of Gardena, our pantry, will benefit from this because all the donations will go there. And if I'm not mistaken, I know it was mentioned at the last Councilmember Kaskanian, I believe you said the Lions Club, you can drop off donations there too for our pantry?
Yes, no, Madam Mayor, they are at on their meeting every other Thursday. They are collecting, and they want to bring us to the pantry.
The Lions Club?
The Lions Club,
Oh,
yes.
okay, I'm sorry, my mistake. Okay, and then the last announcement here is the high school task force, their event that they're having at Gardena High School, which is the Anti-420. This will be from the week of April 8th through April 12th at lunchtime on the quad, where they're having various events for the anti-use of marijuana. And that ends our announcements. So tonight we're going to adjourn our memory in our meeting, in memory of Mrs. Olive Tanaka, who was 93 years old and a lifelong resident of Gardena, and the beloved mother of City of Gardena Mayor Pro Tem Rodney G. Tanaka. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Mr. Cesario Munoz Orellana, who was in his mid-90s. and beloved grandfather of City of Gardena custodian Henry Munoz with the Building and Facilities Maintenance Division of the General Services Department. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Ermias Joseph Asagumdom, which is also known as Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle. I think that was dating me, Nipsey Russell. So at this time, the City of Gardena will adjourn to our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting, which will be at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019. We are adjourned.